I was sick to my stomach when I discovered my wife's secret Google account, which contained hundreds of photos of my ex-girlfriend. I, 36, met my wife Bailey, 33, 9 years ago through mutual coworkers, and we hit it off immediately. I fell absolutely head over heels with this woman. She was everything I was looking for. I had gotten out of a toxic, dare I say abusive long-term relationship right before that with a woman Bailey had been acquainted with, but not friends with. I had her blocked on everything and had no contact with her since breaking up. We got married right after the tail end of the pandemic, bought our first house together, and started trying to conceive. That was difficult because Bailey has PCOS, but last year she finally gave birth to our first daughter. I'm having a blast being a dad. It's kind of a dream come true. I finally got my happy life with my perfect wife. My perfect wife. Until last Monday. My laptop's battery hit the bed, so I opened up Bailey's work tablet with an attached keyboard. You can set it up like a monitor, to check on some tax stuff. She wasn't home, it was just me and the baby, but we've never asked permission to use each other's devices. We've always been open like that. There's nothing for us to hide. That's what I thought. When I opened up the internet, I noticed she had the incognito tab open. Never in a million years did I expect to discover what I did. My wife has a secret Google account with a photo album saved called XX. So I clicked on it. Did I discover an affair? Nudes? Nope. In this Google album were over 300 photos, 348 actually, of my ex. The woman I was with right before I met Bailey. The woman who tormented me and made me feel worthless. The album said it was started back right around the time Bailey and I started dating, and was updated as recently as 2 weeks ago. The photos range from candid shots with family, to pictures at her work functions. There were even pictures from her yearbook. I don't know how Bailey could have found her high school yearbook photos. Photos from vacations, Idaho photos from work. Pictures of her in crowds, screenshots of videos and screen recordings of videos. Just her. The other people in the photos would be scribbled out, or the photo would be cropped and zoomed in just on my ex. There were other disturbing things I found too. There was another album with just zoomed up pictures of my ex's hair. Come to think of it, Bailey had recently started wearing her hair different and my ex had a very identifiable hair type. There was another album with screenshots of comments on social media. Of course I can't find them because I have her blocked. Like, Facebook groups she's in and public posts. And my ex is very low-key on social media. I can't imagine the lengths Bailey went to find them. My ex literally lives in another country now. There were also different links to the exact outfits she was wearing, like very specific blouses and trousers you'd have to really go looking for to find. A specific water bottle I remembered purchasing, and identical hiking boots and sandals. So basically, my partner of almost a decade has been a single white female. My girlfriend has secretly stalked her to the point of buying her exact clothes and changing her hair, and now I'm starting to realize Bailey's new interests over the years were just my ex's. Bailey has turned herself into my ex. Everything feels like a lie. Our love feels like a lie. The things we share feel like a lie. I threw up and had a panic attack. I looked at our daughter and felt betrayed. I haven't confronted her yet. I don't know if I want to. I want to run away with our daughter. I want to print out all her pictures, leave them on the table and disappear. I don't know what to do, I just want to throw up. Relevant comments. Shmai. Holy cow. That definitely is alarming. The best thing to do is address it now to see what'll change if she no longer has someone to replicate. The toxic side of me would slowly start mentioning things like, you know, you really do remind me of someone. And nonchalantly bite into an apple and walk away. OP, I feel like what's worse is that she's subtly made these changes over time under my nose. So my ex has a specific career and Bailey didn't express interest in switching careers to the exact same thing until after I had mentioned what my ex did. Didn't notice at the time, but I remember telling her ex went to school for that. The hair was more recent, the outfits and objects, slowly over time. The interests, I'm not sure how much she's stolen personality-wise from my ex and what she actually likes. It's all incredibly exhausting and confusing. Miss_chapstick. I'm so sorry, this sounds like something out of creepypasta. OP, I'm actually surprised with the amount of support I've gotten here in the last hour, haha. Believe it or not, there are no other red flags in our marriage. Now I don't know what else I've missed. OP added. While I talked about my ex, most of the things I told my wife about were negative and painted her in not such a good light. My wife knows these things and knows they were traumatic. Of course, I've mentioned things like what she does for a living and things she used to do. I think everything else she found she got through intense cyberstalking through my ex's friends and family. The yearbook photos, I have no idea. Edit, removed specific info so I don't accidentally dox myself. Update. I'm pretty sure I accidentally got my original post removed just now because I tried to update it with a link to my update. Oops. Anyway, I'm the guy who found the Google Drive full of pictures of my ex. So, I was not expecting my original post to go viral on YouTube and TikTok, and have so many responses. Yikes. I am overwhelmed by the support. I am humbled by the number of people who have been through this experience, on both sides. I have an update, but it's probably not as exciting and as juicy as you want. It's not bad though. First, let me clear things up. If people think this post is fake because it doesn't make sense, or are trying to conceive timeline is short, or the way I worded things makes it look like a teenager or woman wrote it, continue to think that because it means I've successfully been vague enough and worded things to not accidentally dox myself. Believe this is a creative writing exercise, so I don't embarrass myself. For real. No, I didn't actually throw up. I was in the middle of a panic attack. Private browsing. Tabs were open to the websites with clothing and objects. Another tab was signed into Google Photos. When I exited the Google Photo tab to look at the websites with clothing and came back, it was already signed out and I couldn't get back in. A lot of the clothing I recognized wasn't because I remembered my ex wearing them. There were more recent pictures of her in the file wearing them, and I remember the day Bailey bought the water bottle that also happened to be in the folder. The hair. Bailey and my ex are the same race and my ex wore braids in a particular way. Not so particular that it's exclusive to my ex, because Bailey has also worn different braids, but seeing pictures of her made me put two and two together. Is there any way Bailey could have gotten with me in an attempt to get to my ex? Was Bailey possibly obsessed with my ex before she met me? Probably not, because Bailey grew up here and my ex originally moved here for university. And while you can drive across the border, it's not that easy and I don't think Bailey was going back and forth to stalk her in person. Also, the reasons why my ex and I broke up have nothing to do with Bailey and she could not have had any involvement. On to the actual update. The next day when I had calmed down I called several social workers and therapists. I was planning to confront her there. Unfortunately, the only places that take our insurance did not have an opening for another couple weeks. So despite what a lot of you think, I've known my wife for nearly a decade and even while I was confused and upset and doubting things, I didn't think she'd be a danger to me. We took the baby to grandma's and I asked her to go for a walk with me. I did not beat around the bush and straight up told her I found the folder. Her face got very red and she was frozen, but also tried to play dumb at first. I was persistent and she started crying and begged me not to leave her. This is what I uncovered. Bailey first started looking up my ex out of curiosity. To keep tabs, I guess? But over time it became more pathological. It's like she got addicted to it, but she also wanted to please me. Okay, maybe I talked about my ex a lot more than I thought, and Bailey wanted to emulate the good parts. She told me she really doesn't know who she is, and my ex's image was something she latched onto because she had me first. Finding information about her became a game. Finding the clothing and objects became a game, by searching things like, blue water bottle green stripe, until the couple compared the product to a photo and found the exact one. The reason why I couldn't find the post wasn't because I had blocked my ex, but because my ex had made a new Facebook under a different name. Bailey found her profile by searching up a family member. She made fake social media and added enough mutual friends until she could see my ex's posts, and until her private Instagram accepted her. She weaseled her way into her exercise Facebook group, where the videos were posted, and searched her school on a yearbook website to find the yearbook pictures. Over time she just collected the images and would get excited to find something new, despite the fact that my ex is extremely private on social media. The folder had originally been called Hex the Ex. In case I discovered it, she was going to make the excuse of saving the pictures to put a hex on her. When she made a burner Google account, she deleted the old folder and named the new one XX. Then she got sloppy and comfortable, and that's right around the time I just happened to open the work tablet. We took a break. It was a while. We made it to couples counseling, and Bailey and I also began seeing separate therapists. She still has not had an assessment with a psychiatrist, but it's on the list. She promised to stop and deleted the album in front of me. Slowly certain clothing items began to disappear from the closet. I still do not entirely trust her and that is for me to work on. I'm afraid she has another secret account somewhere, like a backup. The physical mimicking is actually stopping though, including the hair change. We're still not okay. I want us to be okay, and it's okay if that takes time. If we end up not being okay, then that's something I have to deal with. What I do know is that my wife is incredibly insecure, probably mentally ill, and is misled. I don't really want to walk away from that. Although this probably isn't the most exciting update, I appreciate the private messages I just couldn't get back to, Reddit cares, and links to resources. I'm not sure how I feel about social media, YouTube and TikTok picking up on my story though. That's wild. Until next time, if I ever give another update, I hope it's a good one. Relevant comments. Biscuit Brown, the outcome does not look positive. Why stay in a one-sided relationship? At least put a plan together that runs concurrently so you're prepared should it not work out. Seek legal advice, prepare evidence and don't do anything stupid. At least then you will be in a better place, either way. OP, a plan is something I'm still having trouble coming up with. And it's been a couple months. I think I'm afraid to make a plan. Does that make sense? Now to the next story, story 2. My wife and I recently encountered a significant issue with her parents because they used X39 patches on our daughter without our consent. I know how the title sounds, but please bear with me. Throwaway for obvious reasons. I, 24, and my wife, 24, recently had our daughter in July. She is the best thing to ever happen to my wife and I, and we couldn't be more thrilled to have our little bundle of joy. She recently got sick while staying with her grandparents, my in-laws, while my wife and I took a trip for work. For context, my in-laws are really big into LifeWave X39. It's a patch that supposedly helps regrow stem cells by reflecting light rays back into your body, allowing your body to produce more stem cells to fight off diseases and sickness. If you ask me, it sounds like snake oil and my wife agrees, calling it a pyramid scheme. The only way to get said patches is by spending well over $1,000, and then you're tasked with selling the patches yourself. It's essentially some multi-level marketing product, where the more patches you sell, the more money you make. Falling right in line with my wife's comparison to a pyramid scheme, but MLMs are somehow legal. Now I've tried doing research on X39, and the only comments I've seen praise said product are brand new accounts never used before or after, or their entire profile is dedicated to shilling out for LifeWave/X39. In my own research, they appear to just be overpriced stickers. They contain no medication, no special UV rays or anything of the sort. They're literally just an overpriced sticker with an air bubble. But my wife and I have made it very clear that we wanted no part in X39 nor did we want our daughter to have it. Even if it's fake, we wanted no part in it, and on the off chance it did something, I didn't want our daughter to be used as their lab rat or guinea pig. Now before we left our daughter with my in-laws, we provided them with some infant medication, just in case she got sick. Can never be too safe, you know? Well, we returned home from the work trip early because our daughter wasn't getting any better, so we picked her up and went home. We were going to give her a bath, and in the process of taking her jacket off, we found an X39 patch on her arm. Upon finding it, we immediately called her parents and demanded to know why she had a patch on her. Her parents tried saying that, it's safe for the baby, we even ordered the ones for ages 7 and younger. And that, it's practically medication. Their words. Which still didn't answer our question. So my wife checked the go bag, and the Motrin we gave them was, while it was used, not used very much at all. Her parents tried claiming that someone else in their group or whatever gave it to their son and they got better in a week. Point is, we didn't buy it nor did we care. We've made it abundantly clear that we wanted nothing to do with X39 and we didn't want our daughter to be a part of it. They failed to listen. My wife was on the phone with them for over an hour, and while I don't know the exact length the conversation went to, I know it at least ended with her screaming, "Going to see my fucking daughter again, and if you attempt to come to my house we will call the police." Before hanging up. That was 3 days ago now, and we've had several missed calls from family members, her parents, her siblings and even family friends all saying that we overreacted, and they were just trying to help. Maybe we overreacted, but we wanted nothing to do with that, and despite making it clear, they went against our wishes and did it anyway. And instead of giving my daughter actual medication, they try to give her some placebo patch. Her parents tried claiming that we're stopping them from seeing their only grandchild over something so small. But we did want to hear it. Relevant comments. Comment 1. I kinda think you Tosh for leaving your sick baby to go out of town. OP, we didn't leave a sick baby to go out of town. We left her with her grandparents while she was fine. We only packed Motrin because, as I stated in my post, you can never be too careful. She got sick while we were out of town, not before. Comment 2, you say that like it's snake oil, like it's just as bad as the X39. Was it Advil and cough syrup? Or just a generic bottle that you wrote infant medication on? You expect us to believe that you gave them medication just in case she got sick and then she immediately got sick? Come on, this sounds like total BS. OP, her grandparents don't exactly have children medication laying around. We packed her Motrin, Which I quite literally stated later in the post had you read it, not some generic bottle, or snake oil, and just as bad. Nor do they have the ability to really go anywhere. They live a good 30, 40 minutes outside of any nearby town. The drive to and from her parents is a grand whole hour drive from where we live. And my wife and I quite literally work with sick people all the time. No, I'm not a doctor, nor do we have medical expertise. So my wife and I contracting something is usually pretty high, so we pack Motrin or whatever the store brand is that we'll buy, every time we left her with her grandparents for more than a day. Update 1, about a month ago I made this post ranting about my in-laws' weird obsession with a, for lack of a better term, cult regarding stem cell regeneration through patches, which, clearly isn't a real thing. There's been some development on that end, and while I'm confident things will likely end here, I wanted to give a quick update for those who may have been curious. I'm writing this on the toilet at work, so don't mind the rushiness of it all. After my wife essentially cut ties with them and we all received a million phone calls and text messages from family and friends, things quieted down for about a week or two. We started having my sister watch our daughter instead, when we had to work. We haven't had another out-of-trip town since the initial post, however. Through those couple of weeks we never really heard anything beyond a couple of supposed shit-talking posts on Facebook bitching about us, but I can't seem to find the posts. We thought things were, probably, hopefully, going to end there, but boy were we wrong. And this is quite the jump from the last post. My wife and I were visited by CPS about 2 weeks ago or so, after they received concerning calls about supposed child abuse and negligence within the household. Of course, nothing like that happened and the caseworker was very quick to see that. We had asked who reported her, and while she couldn't say, we had a suspicion it was from her parents. We were completely helpful and cooperative with the caseworker, and after she left that night, my wife called her mom up and asked her if she's the one who called CPS. Surprisingly, her mother took full accountability, but, not so surprisingly, tried to spin it around in her favor, claiming that she did it for our own good because our daughter was sick and she wasn't getting any better, when she was there so clearly we were doing something awful as parents. Kids get sick, it happens, but they're also extreme anti-vaxxers. Not just COVID, I mean everything. From even something as trivial as the flu shot. Yet, they're willing to shill out thousands of dollars for some supposed stem cell regeneration sticker. The fucking hypocrisy and irony in their bullshit is unmatched. My wife didn't really know how to react to that, so she basically told her mom to go fuck herself, and she wants nothing to do with her again. I know I saw a few comments on the last post saying maybe we shouldn't have cut them out entirely, but now I'm starting to question why we didn't cut them out years ago, before our daughter was even a thought in our heads. About a week after the first audit, my mother-in-law showed up to our house on my day off while my wife was at work, and essentially demanded to see our daughter, forcing her way into our home by pushing past my arm. When I told her to get the hell out of my house, she had no business matching in here like that. She essentially told me that I'm unfit to be a parent because I'm depriving my daughter of help she desperately needed, because she's clearly a very sick child. My daughter is perfectly healthy right now, and in fact, has had no stuffy nose and no high temperature. Nothing. I told my MIL straight up that she was batshit insane. I went off on her about how she lied to us, went against our wishes, had the audacity to call and lie to CPS, and then show up at our house unannounced, uninvited, and march herself inside, as well as everything about her X39 LifeWave bullshit. We argued there for a while, before I finally got so fed up. I told her to leave my house before I called the police. She stormed out of the house, and in true Karen fashion, said, "This isn't over," before slamming my door. I immediately called my wife, who was of course irate. The following morning, we filed a restraining order at the courthouse from her mom and dad, because they're clearly not in their right mindset. The caseworker had to audit us a few more times as per their guidelines over the past 2 weeks, and yesterday was her last day, where she informed us that we're doing good and she's sorry for the trouble they caused. We kept her up to speed on the LifeWave shit, the showing up unannounced and the restraining order, and though she couldn't really take a side, she seemed apologetic. But my wife and I are pretty livid. We started looking at houses in another state to get as far away from her in-laws as possible. Our company has offices out there, so it's entirely possible we could just be transferred. So we're crossing our fingers that all goes well, the restraining order gets filed soon enough, and we'll get a place clear across the country so that this will hopefully be my last update. New update. Things aren't going to be as juicy in this post as the last two, but some new things have happened, so I'll just jump right in. After my in-laws called CPS on us for no discernible reasons other than we forbid them from seeing our daughter, things mostly quieted down. Some of you suggested that we should do more than just get a restraining order, so we bought some security cameras and had them installed all around our property, and our neighbors, who are pretty good friends of ours, was in the loop for the most part, and anytime we had to go somewhere, Not only did we have video cameras recording every time someone entered our driveway displayed directly on our phones, our neighbors kept us updated too. She stopped coming around for the first few months since she called CPS on us, but just the month before last, as we were preparing to move, my in-laws somehow got word we planned on moving states and attempted to block our driveway as her dad tried blocking the front door. Not sure what their plan was there because we have a back door and an extra side door leading from the kitchen, but I digress. Her mom blocked the driveway, stopping our U-Haul or car from leaving the property, and wouldn't budge, even after we told them we would call the police. They told us they'd move if we told them where we were moving to, but my wife told them that that wasn't happening and they had 10 minutes to leave or we'd be calling the police. My neighbor came over during the commotion, but my in-laws still wouldn't budge. My daughter is crying during all of this as my wife is trying to console her, as my neighbor and I are attempting to remove my father-in-law from the doorway, but he wouldn't move. Eventually my wife called the police, and I'm guessing another neighbor called them as well because they responded within mere minutes. My in-laws kept screaming that we were taking their rightful grandchild away, and that we'd all be damned to burn in hell for this, but honestly that just made me laugh. The police kept asking them to leave, but they wouldn't. Eventually they were arrested for refusing to leave, and the police were nice enough to call a tow truck for us to be able to back out of the driveway. Lo and behold, as the police were handcuffing my in-laws, they both had on those X39 patches, and even the police questioned them about it. But whatever, what's done is done. We were able to finally leave and on to new adventures. We've been settled in at our new house for the better part of over a month, and we're enjoying it greatly. No word from her in-laws, and they have no idea where we are. We have them blocked, but we'll eventually get messages from unknown numbers or Facebook accounts asking where we moved, but there's no way they're that foolish to believe we'll actually tell them. Luckily, neither my last state or this one have any grandparents' rights, so we're in the clear there. Thank you everyone, hopefully this is my last update. Relevant comments. Comment 1, seriously look into a P.O. box and have all mail routed there. OP, hey there. We actually did get our mail routed to a P.O. box. Comment 2, why were they not arrested for violating a restraining order? OP, we informed the police they had a restraining order, I just don't think they cared. They were more concerned with getting them off our property as opposed to them violating the restraining order. I think one of their final charges after being arrested was violation of a restraining order, though the police just didn't seem to care at the time, which is unfortunate, to say the least. Thank you for watching. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so and hit the notification bell to stay updated with more shocking real-life stories happening around you.